Good morning, option addicts. It's Tuesday, May 1st. Happy May. Happy Tuesday. Nice to be back in the saddle again. Not. So I'm going to go over a few of my watch list items for this week. For the majority, price patterns for video 1 here today. You can see I'm starting off here with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. It's been a great trade. Hit 510 this morning. Look for it to keep on rallying, especially if it wants to go lower. We'd love to see this thing hit its ultimate potential, which happened to be about 80 points based on this pattern. So we'll see how it goes. Anyhow, a couple other things we were following from the last week. Drew Industries. You can see it gapped up nicely on earnings here this morning, as high as 37. So DW from last week's list, earnings announcement, caught the spark it needed, big volume, already up 15%, and that's not to mention where it was earlier, up as much as about 25-30. So great trade so far. What else do we have? FMC. I was watching FMC Corporation here. It has a nice little symmetrical triangle. And again, another earnings pop, up about 8%. And been running ever since that gap. Real nice. So a nice move on FMC. POWI. It's a new guy to the list this week. Go out here to a 1-year chart. And for those of you long-term enthusiasts, guys I can't manage to keep up with, you had a nice breakout of this pattern right here a couple days ago. Again, longer term, looking for this to take about 6 to 9 months to reach its ultimate target price. And if you look at how dynamic this is, it's about a 7-8 point movement on a $20 stock would be it's expecting. So keep an eye on POWI. Next I've got SACS, SKS, ascending triangle. Solid resistance here at 21. The lows are climbing higher. Ascending triangle. Simple as that. If you look at this, measuring as low as 18 up to 21, we're talking about a 3-point movement to be hit probably in about 2 months or so. So that's SKS. Next I've got Teva, T-E-V-A Pharmaceutical. And I was watching this guy, excuse my trend line, because it broke out of a short-term resistance a little while ago. Consolidating, pulling back, retesting old resistance as new support. Might be a low entry point to ride this guy a little bit higher. Next, MIL, Millipore. And here we go, another symmetrical triangle. No breakout yet, but keep an eye on this guy as we are pretty darn close to that apex. Next, CPT. We've been watching Canton Property Trust. Here you can see the triangle's already drawn out. We had a breakout of this, and it continues to drop. So this one was a pretty dynamic mover, one that we were expecting a little bit of volatility. If you look at the average movements on this guy, it is pretty significant. So keep an eye on CPT. Next I've got MW, Men's Warehouse. And I'm watching this because you got kind of a shoulder here, kind of a head here, another shoulder here. Maybe a little bit of a head and shoulders, including a few gaps. And it left a nice little island here throughout the month of March, early April. But I'm watching to see how this 42.5 line holds up. If it breaks, I think there's a pretty good reversal in store for Men's Warehouse. What do I got next? ITG. Investment Tech Group, never heard of them. Good support at 37. The highs are getting slightly lower, a little bit of a descending triangle. Look for a break of 37.50 in order to reach about a 3-point move. Not too explosive here, not a very volatile stock, but looks like a pretty good chart pattern. Next I've got IIG, Emergent, forming a nice little pennant before earnings. Kind of quiet about moving higher here. Remember, a lot of short interest in the stock. Earnings coming right around the corner. Might be another reason for the stock to just blow up again and hopefully test these prior highs at 30. Next I've got VFC. VFC Corporation. Aha, this was on my list to keep an eye on for flags this week. And so much for that. Look at this huge gap down today. Good thing I waited until the last minute to read that one. Next I've got TU, Tellus. Couple reasons. You know, just maybe starting to form the handle on a big old cup and handle formation on this guy. And if you look at this, about a 10 to 11 point movement is what we'd be anticipating. The handle's probably going to consolidate a little bit longer, so watch for the breakout of about 56. And you know, this chart pattern about a 6-month time frame, so actually more like 9 months, 6 to 9 months. So again, for you intermediate term investors, you might have a pretty good price target on TU. XEC, another flag pattern. Looks like it ran away here from its last point of consolidation at 38 up to about 40.5, so about a $3 movement or so. And watch for this thing to break out of resistance and hopefully end up getting a good move out of XCC. DNA, yeah, kind of a played out stock, I know, but let's look at the 6-month chart here. Forgive my support level. Anyway, this is one that ran away a couple days ago. Had this as kind of a descending triangle. Broke support and kind of a neutral day today. There's also a little bit of support right back down here at 80. So keep an eye on the stock. It's been going lower quite a bit. If it breaks through 80, I think there's a lot more in store for this, as it's probably going to confirm this 5-point move that we're waiting on. So keep an eye on DNA. Pinnacle Financial, how long we've been watching this for? Like 2 months. Finally broke yesterday. Big volume. Not much action going on today, but again, longer term chart pattern here. Not something I plan on trading, but for some of the longer term traders, intermediate term, got to have some stuff for them to watch too. So there's Pinnacle Financial, finally confirmed. Buffalo Wild Wings. It wasn't all that hot on the stock earlier, but now I think we got to keep it on the radar again for those of you that missed out on it. Nice little ascending triangle out of this one here. About a 5 to 6 point movement to the upside if it does break resistance at 67.50. Keep an eye out. I'm moving fast, so bear with me. ENR, Energizer. Got a nice little flag out of this guy. Got a pretty good break out of this yesterday with some volume. So I liked it. Maybe you draw it sideways. Maybe you don't consider it to haven't broken yet. Maybe you wait for a break of 97.50. You could also draw your lines this way, and I couldn't be mad at you. So keep an eye out. Maybe 97.50 is a better entry point. Wait for volume though. Volume will tell you when it's the right trade. So home builders, I'm kind of nervous about these guys. You guys all know I was bearish last week. Caught a rise, and ever since then they've been falling. But I was noticing on Ryland is that as this drops, I hate being right and being out of the trade, but if Ryland continues to drop a little bit, maybe, and then starts to turn higher, you might have a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders going on here. And Ryland's the only one I could really see this going on in. So if it turns higher here and confirms a higher low, you might have a pretty good chart pattern to ride the stock up back to prior highs. But again, that's assuming this industry group unloads a lot of baggage. So we'll see how that pans out. Couple more got to run. CELG, flag pattern, good run up. Starting to consolidate here a little bit. Big spike. This one here about about 6 point movement or so. Keep an eye on Celgene. Let's see. Next, I've got AL. Another flag. Looks like that one dropped down pretty significant today, but maybe you watch this as a support bounce, as it nears support. Wait for it to consolidate a little bit at support before taking anything here. Last but not least, Rockwell Collins, COL. Ginormous symmetrical triangle. There it is. Know about it. All right, well, I'm at the 10-minute mark. I hate spending this much time because it's kind of boring to listen to on the other end, I'm sure. But there's a couple trades that I'm watching for this week. Hopefully a few of these things pan out, or you make some ideas out of these yourselves. Got a couple other lists that'll be following up here shortly, so keep an eye out. And best of luck in your trading this week, guys. Go Addicts.